Hey, everybody. Welcome to this special Saturday edition of Here's the Scoop from NBC News. I'm Yasmin Vossoughian. So tomorrow night, the cauldrons are going to go dark in both Milan and Cortina as the 2026 Winter Olympics come to a close. And what a ride it has been. Earlier on in the week, alpine skier Mikaela Shiffrin in Cortina blazed down the slalom course a full second and a half faster than her competition, making a comeback to secure her third Olympic gold medal. It was quite a moment, to say the least. But what you didn't see was everything that led up to it. She has been through so much. We sat down with Mikaela for a very candid conversation about mental health, about grief, and how she manages when she is an Olympian. This is my conversation with Mikaela Shiffrin. Hi, Mikaela.
Hi. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing? I think is the question. We are so happy for you. Congratulations on your Olympic gold medal in slalom. It seemed like the most perfect run. I've watched it over and over again. You didn't make a single mistake. And not only did you win, I mean, you really won. The last couple of years have been tough for you. And I think that's why this is so incredible now, right? You lost your dad in 2020. You walked away from Beijing without a medal. You had this crazy injury in 2024 where you were essentially stabbed by the gate. These games also didn't start. These games didn't start also the way that you wanted to in your performance in the combined with Breezy. But then you came back in the slalom. And as I mentioned, you came back in such a big way. How did you muster the mental strength to do that?
Oh my gosh. I think this Olympic experience has been so much about like simplification. It's probably the most challenging thing, if not like almost impossible to do, to truly focus on just the skiing in the moment. And the rest of the time, you know, in the quiet moments outside of skiing and when we're not on the hill training and you know, the rest of the time around this Olympics, it's been full of wonderful moments, but definitely full of a sense of, I don't know, like adrenaline and anticipation. And sometimes that is really, really hard to control. So yeah, this experience has been so much about like relying on my team and communicating with all of them, with the coaches and staff and my whole support system, and really helping them help me to tell them all my concerns and fears and, you know, being afraid of what criticism might come if I don't, you know, achieve the skiing that I want, and this doesn't go the way, and these sort of external narratives start to take a hold, and how I take it so personally, and, you know, to talk about these things and then to tell them, you know, you must remind me of my purpose here. My purpose is in the skiing between the start and the finish. All of this exists and I'm aware of it, but in the end of the day, what I'm proud of is my capabilities on the snow, and what we're here to do is attack the race course. And that's it. We've been racing all season, and we showed up to the Olympics and we continued to train. And I don't know, learn from the moments in the very beginning of the games when I was a little bit taken aback by some of the conditions and course setting and a few things from the team combined that really we turned into a learning experience, and went out and showed up for the slalom race day ready to do the skiing I was capable of doing. And the most amazing feeling was to have 2 runs of execution.
I mean, the most incredible, perfect runs I literally have ever seen in slalom racing.
Thank you. Oh, thank you.
I also love that you were kind of honest and transparent with your team in what you needed to get through, especially considering all the pressure that you had on you, not just as an Olympic racer, but just being Mikaela Shiffrin, right? Like knowing that you were going into this and everyone's watching you and going, oh my God, Mikaela Shiffrin has got to perform because she didn't do it last time.
Yeah.
And she's got to do it this time.
Yeah, it's super loaded. And I think, honestly, this is something before people were even starting to talk about it, you know, back in the summertime, I was starting to feel the tension from knowing that these are the storylines that get built up. And on the one hand, as an athlete, you appreciate it so much because it's what really breathes life into your career, is the fact that people want to talk about it. That's one of the most giving and the most incredible things. It's what allows us to do this as a profession. On this other hand, I suppose, these moments become a lot more loaded than we're used to seeing in the World Cup racing, and you know what we do day in and day out, and every weekend from October until March we're racing World Cups, and you know it's really our little World Cup family. But in an Olympic stage, you know, you definitely have a bright light shining on pretty much everything that you do, and it's just becomes a different beast to refocus and simplify to do a task that you're really pretty familiar with. That's something that we started talking about back in September. We had a, you know, really good, amazing group discussion together with my team, all the staff. Is, you know, back then I was starting to suffocate,
feeling the pressure.
They're not gonna. Well, it wasn't even about pressure. It was like that people don't understand the experience I was having. Maybe the experience I had in Beijing, but more that they wouldn't understand when we arrived here in Cortina, everything extra that goes into an Olympic performance, aside from the task that we do every day. Because when you're with your team, it's like, this is your family and you're working every single day together. As an athlete, when you show up to the Olympics, it can be isolating. It doesn't have to be, but there's definitely an isolation factor when, you know, you're alone in your room and you're just taking a shower, you're behind closed doors and you're thinking, you know, oh my gosh, what if? All the what ifs. What if people say this? And what if I don't do that? What if I do that? What's that going to feel like? And where do we go from here? And what does my team think? If I don't live up to this moment, what if they leave me? What if they don't want to be here with me unless it's success? And these are things my psychologist calls them illogical thoughts. And I get that. But I still think them. So what I realize is processing these things verbally with the people who are there, that we're going onto the hill together, and we're really unified and cohesive. And you know, my psychologist was also here in person for these 2 weeks, and that's something I learned from Simone Biles. You know, she was talking about meeting with psychologists daily in Paris, and I was thinking, you know, there's not enough time. There's not enough time in the day with training and everything to have these discussions. But in the end, I talked my whole team. She was there for all of us to be able to just sort of discuss and continue to process and move forward through the whole games. And it was such an incredible tool for us to be able to access, you know, our thoughts and question marks and belief too, because at the end of the day, then my team knew exactly what to say to me to help me want to race the course.
You know what I think is so awesome about what you're saying, Mikaela, is I think that you being so honest and transparent about the feelings that you're having and talking to your psychologist. I mean, I have a therapist. A lot of folks deal with, you know, mental health. And I think that we all kind of understand your feeling, even in our smaller scales. We all have our own kind of version of the Olympics to a certain extent, right? Mine might be in front of the camera when there's like a big breaking news story. Someone else's might be a presentation at work, or, you know, but all of us have that feeling, and understanding kind of the tools that you use as a Olympic gold medalist in getting through those most difficult moments, I think can be so amazing for other people to hear and understand that, like, you're not perfect, you're vulnerable, you too, like, question yourself, even at those moments in which millions of people not to reiterate that, are watching
Yeah.
you
No,
and
it's
putting their hopes and
it's
dreams
okay
in you.
now. Like, hello, you know, it's okay to talk about it now. But that's, you know, that's also what I just said there. Like, that's also, you know, those are the things that load the moment too. It's like, once you've done it, then you're like, oh, now I'm fine. And that even that in and of itself is
Empowering.
it's empowering. It's also probably part of the challenge that athletes face in the Olympics. And, you know, when you talk about mental health, it's like, well, yeah, but I just saw this athlete that they did it. They had this inspiring moment, and now they get to talk about it and, you know, wave their medal around. It's like, now I'm not stressed anymore. And it's like, but the purpose I came here for the skiing. And yes, the medal is part of that, but that's, you know, I almost want to put it away and be like, this is my beautiful, special symbol. This is actually a gift for having the courage to go out there and try, and then being able to execute it. Yes.
Right.
But the medal was actually not the purpose. And it's only now that I have it that I can really honestly say that, because if I said that and I didn't have it, then that's the criticism, that's the backlash you face. But, you know, it's hearing people like Simone or Michael Phelps or anybody talk about psychology. And I feel that actually the moments where I'm not having a problem, but I'm just trying to understand what I'm feeling, and maybe I don't see it as an issue yet, but I'm just sort of like just creating more self-awareness. That has been such a wonderful, like, life improving process. And I do suggest taking some form of a self-awareness journey for every single person on the planet. And what's challenging is that it's not really the most accessible thing. I'm privileged to be able to literally, you know, to be able to pay for my mental health. Not everybody is in that position. So over the next 10 years, I would love to see these kind of resources become more accessible, because it's been it really has improved my life.
I don't know about you, Mikaela, but for me, it's also twofold, like the way in which I talk to myself, because I'm also hearing you say that it's important to kind of be present, right? Not always to say, I got to get gold, but to think about,
Yeah,
I just got to ski. I got to put all the effort, you know, all the training that I have worked on to get to this moment into practice, right? I just got to stay focused. Right.
Like even the difference of like, I have to, or I've got to, or I need to, versus I want this. Like, I have the ability and I choose this.
So one of the things for me, I think, Mikaela, in my own journey has been kind of combining, yes, like staying present, right? Understanding what I'm going through, but also having a little bit of faith, like bringing spirituality into my life that has never been a part of my life before. I saw after you won the gold, of course, you went to your mom, you hugged her, you also kissed your hand and then touched the snow. I guess that was for your dad, right? Have you kind of found any spiritual journey through this as well, in ways in which you're talking through to your dad?
Yeah. So, you know, I had the moment to hug my mom, and I knew that was coming. And she's the first person that I saw, which was incredible, because to be honest, usually she's sort of hiding in the background. And when I crossed the finish line, I sort of kind of curled into a ball a little bit. That moment was really for my dad and for the team who is there with me every step of the way. So I took a moment to be within myself and to take that for my dad, to take that for my team, and to just try to bring them into that moment. And then kissing the snow, that was really for the mountain, because I've had this entire time for my life, my whole career, you have a relationship with the mountains, and I would not be here doing any of this without the mountains and the environment and, the beauty of our world. And it's such a fragile existence. And I guess I just wanted to thank the mountain.
Amidst kind of this journey that you have had in making sure that you stay healthy mentally under this pressure and the competing that you have been doing. You have also said that when you win a gold at the Olympics, at the end of the day, it's just another journal entry, right? Or maybe a couple of journal entries. What's the next journal entry for you?
Oh my gosh. Well, I do think that this experience from Cortina is going to take a couple more pages in my journal. I'm not actually
By the way, you have a journal. Do you write in your journal every day?
I usually use a notes app if I have random thoughts, but I don't do regular journaling. But this games, I've been doing a lot of writing down with a pen on paper. I have sticky notes all over my bathroom, all over the mirror of reminders of the mentality I wanted to bring to race day. And just when I wake up in the morning and anytime I go in the bathroom and I see the mirror, the first thing I see are the sticky notes. And I think processing this whole experience is going to keep taking time. I'm really grateful for that, and hopefully can use this energy through the rest of the season, because we've got actually more World Cup racing to do. Then I'll be on snow in the middle of next week training for our upcoming World Cup races.
Do you have a mantra that you really focus in on before your races or when you're going through a difficult time in your life, even some phrase that you always go back to?
With skiing, I have sort of technical cues, which won't make sense to anybody. But I do just repeat them in my head over and over and over again. I think here in Cortina, something I kept repeating to myself was I want to feel powerful and connected with the mountain. So that was one of the things I wrote down on my mirror and just kept saying, I want the moment between the start and the finish. I accept that the moment after the finish might not be what I want.
Yeah. And again, that's something we can all apply to our own lives. I feel like I want to feel powerful and connected to fill in the blank.
Yeah.
Mikaela Shiffrin, you are a superstar. We are so excited for you. Congratulations. And thank you for giving us the time.
Thank you so much.
All right. That is going to do it for us at Here's the Scoop from NBC News. I'm Yasmin Vossoughian. We'll be back on Monday with whatever the weekend may bring. And if you love what you heard, push the subscribe button. We'll see you Monday.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.